Hello, Scorpio. I'm glad you're here. There's something you've been sensing quietly in your bones. A shift. A change that has no name yet. But it's real. You've felt it in the stillness of your evenings. In the way the world around you suddenly pauses before something unfamiliar begins. And that's exactly what we're going to talk about today. This isn't just another moment passing through your life. This is the moment. The one the universe has been stitching together behind the scenes for far longer than you know. Everything you've endured, the waiting, the uncertainty, the near misses was leading here. Because a piece of news is coming. And it's not just any news. It's the kind of turning point that doesn't knock on the door gently. It arrives. And nothing remains the same after it enters. This message is for you. Scorpio, the one who's spent years carrying truths no one else could see. Whose silence has been misunderstood. Whose power has been waiting beneath the surface for the right reason to rise. What's ahead isn't dramatic for the sake of drama. It's not loud. But it is life-changing. And when it comes, you'll understand why you had to lose certain things. Why you were delayed. Why the spotlight never stayed long enough. It wasn't punishment. It was preparation. Now, all of it makes sense. Now, your real life begins. Let's begin. This news isn't ordinary. It's not one of those small shifts that come and go, leaving you only slightly changed. This is the news. The one your soul has been waiting for. Even when your mind didn't know what it was waiting for. The kind that doesn't just arrive with information, it arrives with recognition. The kind that walks into your life and rearranges everything you thought you knew about timing, worthiness, and the way things were supposed to unfold. This is the news that will make you stop in your tracks and say, not with arrogance but with deep, tear-welling clarity, finally, it's my turn. You've known, somewhere deep down, that something larger has always been meant for you. And yet, life hasn't always reflected that knowing. It kept you circling, waiting, questioning whether you'd made it all up in your head. But this moment, this news will be the confirmation that you weren't wrong. You weren't imagining your potential. You were simply ahead of your time. And now that time has caught up with you. When it comes, it won't knock politely. It will arrive like a quiet storm in assuming, but powerful enough to shift the entire structure of your life. And in that moment, you will remember every time you held back your brilliance, every time you doubted your depth, every time you silenced your instincts, and you'll know that the wait wasn't in vain. It was sacred. Because this is what you were being prepared for. You had to wait. Scorpio. Not because you were forgotten. Not because the universe was punishing you or withholding what was rightfully yours. But because timing real. Divine timing doesn't move according to desire. It moves according to readiness. And the truth is, there were things you had to grow through. Layers you had to shed. Illusions you had to break before you could stand fully in the life that's now approaching. The failures. The moments you felt invisible. The doors that closed without explanation, they weren't signs that you weren't enough. They were signs that something greater was still in motion. That you were being shaped. Quietly. In the dark soil of waiting. For something that would require more depth. More clarity. More truth than you were meant to carry in those earlier chapters. There were times when you watched others move ahead. Take the recognition. Hold the mic. Live the life that seemed to match the dreams you were carrying inside. And it left you wondering if your turn would ever come. But the truth is, if those early versions of success had come to you then, they would have fractured under the weight of your sensitivity, your intensity, your need for meaning in everything you do. You were never meant to bloom fast. You were meant to bloom real. And that takes time. Heartbreak. Release. And the kind of maturity that can only be formed in silence. In solitude. In the aching spaces no one else can see. So every setback, every pause, every delay, it was never the end. It was preparation for the moment when nothing less than your fullest self would be required. And that moment is now. And now, Scorpio, After all the waiting, after all the quiet chapters where it felt like no one was really seeing you, someone finally has, not just anyone, but someone with presence, with influence, with the power to shift your current reality in ways that no effort alone could have accomplished. This isn't a vague opportunity or an abstract possibility. This is concrete. This is real. This person has been watching you longer than you realize. Perhaps from a distance. Perhaps quietly within a space you thought had no eyes on you. Noticing not only your work, but the way you carry yourself through uncertainty. The way you navigate pressure. The way you don't shrink from truth even when it costs you comfort. They've seen something in you that others may have overlooked: your steadiness beneath intensity. Your integrity beneath the mystery. Your ability to lead without needing the spotlight. This is the kind of recognition that doesn't come with fanfare but with decisions. With doors being opened. With conversations shifting in your favor behind closed rooms you were never invited into before. And what's extraordinary is that this moment isn't happening because you asked for it. Or pushed for it. Or forced it. It's happening because you're finally aligned with it. Because the version of you standing here now is capable of receiving what would have overwhelmed the version of you from years ago. This person, this figure of authority or influence, is not bringing a vague compliment or an empty gesture. They're bringing a turning point, a project, a position, a collaboration, something that will not only change your outer world, but confirm, in the deepest sense, that you were never wrong about yourself. And you may not even recognize this moment at first. It may come wrapped in something simple, something subtle, something that looks like any other interaction, but your body will know. Your intuition will feel it in the marrow. That this is the conversation that shifts the tide. This is the person who sees you as you've always longed to be seen, not through projections or surface impressions, but with clarity, depth, and a willingness to invest in the version of you that you've spent years building from the inside out. This is no longer a dream. This is arrival. When the news arrives, Scorpio, it won't just be information that enters your mind, it will be an ignition. Something inside of you will light up in a way you haven't felt in years. Maybe ever. Not a fleeting excitement, but a deep, cellular awakening. As if every part of you that had gone dormant out of necessity suddenly remembers what it feels like to be fully alive. Fully seen. Fully capable of leading with both clarity and conviction. You won't need anyone to tell you that this is your moment. You'll know it instinctively. The way the body knows warmth after a long winter. Confidence will return not because someone gives you permission to feel it, but because the conditions that once required you to hide it have dissolved. This moment will feel like stepping into your own skin for the first time. Not cautiously, not apologetically, but with a calm certainty that says, I was made for this. And the most extraordinary part is that the shift won't be limited to you. Your activation will ripple outward. Others will feel it. You'll notice how your presence changes the dynamic of a room. How your words begin to carry a new weight. How people lean in. Not because you demand attention, but because you've become undeniable. Your success won't exist in isolation, it will pull others forward with it. Like gravity. People who've been on the edge of giving up may find new strength just by witnessing you rise. You'll become the evidence that transformation is real. That waiting isn't wasted. That power can come quietly and still change everything. This is no longer about proving your worth. It's about embodying it, radiating it, and using it as a force for good that doesn't just elevate your own path, but opens space for others to step into their own. This is what you were being prepared for. Not just the achievement, not just the reward, but the responsibility of being someone who doesn't just take the light, they become it. And they offer it back to those still navigating the dark. Your impact will stretch further than you'll ever fully see. And that, Scorpio, is the real beginning. What's unfolding now, Scorpio, is not just a professional breakthrough. Not just a moment that changes what you do. It's a full spectrum transformation that touches every part of your life. Visible and invisible. This isn't the kind of shift that simply brings you a new title or a better paycheck. It's the kind of shift that changes the way you move through the world. the way you inhabit your own body, the way you trust your own voice. The energy you carry will become clearer, more grounded, more magnetic. And as a result, everything around you will begin to respond differently, not because the world has changed, but because you have. Your finances may start to stabilize or expand, not just through luck, but because you're finally occupying the frequency of someone who believes they are worthy of receiving. Relationships, too, will shift. Connections that once drained, you will begin to fall away. Not through conflict, but through clarity. And in their place, more aligned, reciprocal bonds will begin to form. Relationships built on mutual respect, shared vision, emotional maturity. You'll find yourself drawn to spaces that support your growth rather than challenge your worth. And in those spaces, the old habit of second-guessing yourself will begin to dissolve. The self-doubt that once whispered at the edges of every decision will lose its grip as your inner knowing strengthens. But perhaps the most powerful transformation will be the quiet but unmistakable return of your sense of purpose. Not just in a career sense, but in a soul-deep way. You'll start to feel the thread that ties all your experiences together, even the painful ones. And you'll see how they shape the unique role you're here to play. You won't feel like you're chasing a life anymore. You'll feel like you're finally stepping into the one that's been waiting for you all along. And in that alignment, things that once felt like effort will begin to flow. Your energy will regenerate faster. Your decisions will feel clearer. Your vision will sharpen. And for the first time in a long time, you won't be surviving, you'll be living. Fully. Without apology or delay. This is what true transformation looks like. It doesn't knock, it arrives. And when it does, it brings everything with it. So now, Scorpio, we arrive at the truth that's been quietly building beneath every moment of delay. Every unanswered prayer. Every night you sat with questions no one else could hear. The truth is simple, but it changes everything. Your time has come. Not someday. Not maybe. Not when you've proven enough or fixed enough or waited long enough. Now, this is not a hope you're clinging to. It's not a dream you're still trying to manifest. It's reality alive. Moving. Unfolding around you in ways that are no longer subtle. You are no longer standing at the threshold. You've crossed it. And what's ahead is not a version of life you're trying to earn. It's the life that has always been meant for the version of you that could finally receive it. This is your moment, not in the poetic sense, but in the lived sense. The choices you make now, the way you show up now, the way you speak, act, trust, and expand now, these are the things that will shape the new foundation you're standing on. You are no longer becoming. You have become. And the world around you is finally reflecting back what your spirit has known all along. That your light is not accidental. That your timing is not late. And that everything is happening exactly as it was always meant to. Let that truth settle deep into your bones. You don't need to push anymore. Just walk forward. It's already yours. And so, Scorpio, as this message comes to a close, I want you to take a deep breath, not the kind that simply fills your lungs, but the kind that reaches into the oldest corners of your being, where you've held tension, silence, resilience for years. Let this breath be the one that tells your nervous system, it's safe now. You don't have to fight so hard to be seen. You don't have to convince anyone of your worth. You don't have to wait in the shadows of almost and not yets. What's coming is not another test. It's a turning point. And for once, it will feel like life is no longer asking you to prove yourself, it's asking you to receive. Let everything you've endured, every delay, every closed door, every moment of isolation stand now as the sacred ground that made this arrival possible. You are not late. You are not broken. You are right on time. Right on purpose. The version of you that is stepping forward from this moment is no longer carrying the weight of what didn't happen. You're walking with the wisdom of someone who knows that timing is never about punishment. It's about preparation. And now, the path ahead no longer demands your apology. It asks for your presence, your courage, your full truth. In the days to come, Pay close attention to the subtle shifts. The conversation that feels different. The email that arrives unexpectedly. The way people begin to respond to you as if something has changed, because it has. You've changed. Your energy speaks before you do now. And it's speaking clearly. I'm ready. So when the news arrives and it will, let yourself feel it fully. Let yourself celebrate it. Let yourself believe it's real. Because it is. You are not just stepping into opportunity. Scorpio. You are stepping into alignment with your soul. Your purpose. Your truth. And in that space, everything becomes possible. Thank you for being here. For listening with your whole heart. And for trusting the timing of your own life. If this message resonated with you, let it live in your body. Not just your mind. Share your story in the comments so others can recognize their own. And remember, what's ahead isn't the end of your journey. It's the moment your real story begins. I'll see you in the next message. Until then, stay open, stay grounded, and above all, stay ready. Your time has come.